All right, welcome back to another 10-Minute Tuesday, and this week we have two very special guests in the studio. We have Mike Stelzner and recurring guest Matt Rustad, who, if you guys haven't heard his first podcast, you'll have to go back, I don't know how far, Matt.
3 years?
Probably, yeah.
Maybe even more.
Pre-video podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pre-video.
Is audio only pod. So go back and listen to Matt's first run at it. Hear what that sounds like.
I'd rather hunt pigeons than ducks. That's all that's about.
2020.
All right, guys.
Damn.
2020.
5 years ago.
That's crazy.
That is actually so crazy.
That's actually so crazy.
Yeah. All right. So this week, guys, what we wanted to do is have you guys each tell us. We've heard, some cool kind of hunting stories from you guys. So we wanted you guys to have a chance to just tell our listeners kind of a crazy, cool hunting story. So Matt, I've heard like snippets of this one, but not the whole thing. So I'm going to let you start about your wild experience.
All right. This is absolutely my favorite hunting story by far. So I was with Alex Culp. We go out to this field. It was next to a highway, 52. So it takes you from Minneapolis to Rochester.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're setting up decoys, and it was like 3 a.m. It was juiced. We were running a giant spread. I think we had like 3 trailers out in this field, and we were like fairly close to the highway. And whatever, we're sitting there. It's early in the morning. We've been grinding. We're tired, and all of a sudden, I see this guy walking on the spread, and Alex always invites like everybody he knows every time he goes hunting. So I was like, oh, it must be one of Alex's buddies or something. And then like all of a sudden I saw like other people look at this guy. I'm like, who is it? So like the next thing I know, like I like grab more Bigfoots, put them out, and I come back, and then Alex is like, Matt, can you come sit in the truck with this guy? And it was this dude, his car broke down on the road, and it was like 17 degrees outside, and he was like having like hypothermia. So he was like just sitting there, just shivering in the truck. And then I didn't know what to do. I'm the worst person in these situations. I'm just like sitting there like in the truck. I'm like, why does it have to be me going in the truck with this guy? I don't know where he's going. He was going to meet some chick in Rochester at 3 a.m. Said he ran out of gas.
Sure.
So his name was Tim. So we called him Timmy. So
yeah,
that's the Timmy field from now on. And I literally like couldn't believe it. So I take that way to work every single day.
Yeah.
His car was there for 2 weeks next to that
Oh,
field.
man.
So what did he just like leave the field or what?
So we're hunting, and then we call the cops. We're like, we got this guy here. He's like hypothermic. I gave him like clothes and some food and snacks, but he was like just shivering uncontrollably. So the cop shows up, and we're like,
did this guy know you called the cops?
Yeah, we like
okay.
What else are we gonna do? And I can't even imagine what he thought walking off the highway into our decoy spread. Yeah. So then he's sitting in the truck with me, and I'm like trying to talk about anything. So I'm like, "Oh, where are you from? Minneapolis." He's like, "So like, are you guys like hunting?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're trying to kill geese." Anyways, so the cop shows up. He picks him up, and it was like the most awkward thing ever. And then about 30 minutes later, about right at shooting time, maybe an hour later, the guy comes back with a gas can. The cop brought him to the gas station, fills up his car, wouldn't turn on. So then they're sitting there like opening it up with the cop, and then eventually he left with the cop again, and then like a whole pack of girls, I'm guessing it was who he was going to meet, came up. I was just mind-blowing. Just only Matt Rustad.
So you guys are hunting, and they're like working on the car by the highway?
Yeah.
Is this like...
We were like pretty close, probably like 400 yards.
Okay.
And it's a busy highway. It's not like it's like a...
He must have been pretty scared to be like, fuck it. I'm going to go out into this field. And
well, he must have had I mean, if his car broke down, he had no heat, and I'm guessing he wasn't very
exactly
well dressed for the occasion.
He was in a t-shirt. It's like 17, I think. So it was like if he walked in here, obviously he's not going to do it.
Like you have to be so desperate.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, there's like 400 yards away. There's a bunch of guys setting up decoys. I'm going to go and talk to them.
I'm going to go talk to those geese.
Timmy, though.
Check those out.
Timmy.
But it was in the dark. There's no way you could even see what we're doing. So
yeah, he just saw the trailers with the lights.
Yeah.
He was so confused.
He just saw the trailers with how many deep were you guys?
Like 12 people deep.
Yeah. That must have been 12 dudes with guns and trailers, and this guy's like,
guy.
Yeah.
Why me?
Literally, exactly. Like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, yo, you'll be good at it. I'm like,
you'll be good at it.
I don't want you go in there.
Good at what?
Good at it. Oh my
to be good at talking to this guy.
There is no way you were good at small talk with a complete stranger at 3:30 in the morning.
No shot.
There's no way.
Oh man, that's a good one, dude.
You know
That's a
what's
really
funny
good one.
about that is that you talk about him being on the podcast in 2020. And that was the pigeon hunting one. I feel like you've had a lot of issues with cops and pigeon hunting. Didn't you have a story where the cops rolled up on you and you were?
Oh yeah, I talked about that last pod. They pulled the guns.
You know
on
that
me.
one had to come
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
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 That's
Yeah.
bad.
Oh, you're pigeon hunting?
Classic.
Why
pretty
are you
weird,
pigeon
dude.
hunting?
Right.
Put your hands up.
Right. Yeah.
100p.
All right,
Mikey.
Mike, tell
man,
us a good one.
It's tough. Like I feel like I don't have great stories, but I have a lot of
Your
solid
last
stories.
one.
But yeah,
The pit one.
the pit one, yeah. We've got a spot that we've hunted for years. It's a gravel pit, super good, and I've like battled for years to keep other people out of there. But those birds, and maybe some people listening can understand when you get geese that are absolutely like impossible to hunt. So they feed across the road. Sometimes they roost in town. Sometimes they roost in this gravel pit. And so a couple of years ago, we were just like literally trying different things to figure out how to hunt these birds. And because they'd always be, if they're roosting in there, they don't leave in the morning. You can't kick them out. So what we started doing is going in there at night. Like if they were roosting in there and we wanted to hunt it, we'd go in there with the boat maybe and be like putting the decoys out, and they'd come back and they'd fly to town. And so my son, my oldest, he loves hunting geese, and he's like, Dad, I want to go to the pit tomorrow. Well, we had a south wind, and so we could really only hunt the south side of the pit, which is not the easiest. So I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's wait till dark, and we'll just set the spread tonight, so we don't have to set it tomorrow. So we roll in, and we park the trailer up on the gravel, and we take down all the floaters. We were just going to throw them off the shore. So we're both in headlamps, or we're walking in. It's a big gravel pit where they harvest gravel, but they pull gravel out of there. And it's owned by there's basically three people that manage it, kind of, and own it. And the homeowner's house is like directly across there. So we've got, our headlamps on, and we're just in there like putting I've done it. We've done it before, tons of times before. Never had any issues. And so I like start coming up the hill. I see like, there's some lights, cop car, like must be something going on. No, they roll right up. And it was like, I don't know, it was like a Thursday night or something. It was like a midweek night. And obviously there was not a lot going on in Goodhue County that night because we had like 4 squads roll up. It was like they calling all Goodhue County sheriff. And so we had the city cop, Goodhue County sheriff come out. And we've had some turnover in the last couple of years in the Z-Town city cops. So I didn't know the city cop. And they're like, what are you guys doing? And like, we got a call that there was people in here, and they were like, they thought we were stealing wire, or like,
oh, sure. I thought you were cracking.
So
I thought you were on drugs.
Yeah.
So the landowner, his wife, I have not met his wife. I always talk to him. So she rolls up and she's like, who are you?
Oh, God.
Who's this?
Oh, no.
And then I'm like,
bad.
I'm like, I have permission from your husband. And she goes, I don't know you. I don't know who you are.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, please, ma'am, like, I have permission. We have been in here before. Well, I better call my husband. I'm like, oh, please don't bother him, And so of course she calls him, and he shows up, and it's, hey, Mike, he's good, just like that. But they had me over like by the cop car. They had Brian by a cop car.
Or they had you separated.
Yeah, they were working us over. And I'm like, guys, like I said, hey, like, sir, see in the back of that Suburban, those 4 bags of goose decoys? Like, this is what we're doing. Like, there's a sled, there's decoys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But man,
Yeah.
they must have thought
They
we
had to
were
go
going
through the
some
whole, they wanted to go
elaborate
through the
scheme,
whole
yeah,
rigmarole with you.
So then at the end, the landowner's like, yeah, maybe a phone call next time, Mike. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry. Like, it's just one of those things. But we've done it several times before and never had any issues. But
Right.
Damn.
But it's not the first time, or probably won't be the last time that I've had that. We've all had stories. Somebody calls and you're fishing around in the dark, and cops show up to check it out.
Oh yeah.
Well, and there's so many awesome farmers out there where I'll get permission, and it's like I have permission for life.
Right.
It's like, cool.
Right.
And I would call them 3 times,
Right.
and they'd be like, why are you calling me? I already gave you permission. I'm like, cool. So then I talk to the next guy, and he's like, yep, you're good to go. And then I go on hunt without calling him again. And he's like, you have to call me every time.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, shit. My bad. you know, so you have to
Everyone's different.
You have to kind of gauge that.
Yeah.
But like, I've had people get really upset for calling them every time. And so I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't know what to do. You know, I should probably just ask them at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
do you want me to call you every time? Am I like good for the rest of the year? Do you give this out to other people?
Right.
Normally, if they give it out to other people at the same time, then they want you to call,
Right.
24 to
Right.
48 hours before.
That stuff's tough. It's tough because like after like I love hunting that spot, but it's always something, you know. I mean, another story from that same spot. I hunt with a guy, really good, but we all get excited when we get a bird coming in.
Oh yeah.
And the loaders are like behind the berm. So we don't shoot behind the berm. Well, that day we did. And about 2 hours later, I get a call from the pit owner. Hey, we got a BB in the loader camera.
Mm.
$899 later. Yeah.
Ouchie.
Yeah. And so that was the year before the cops. And so like, needless to say, like this year, I don't think I hunted the pit once because I just struggled. Like I'm like, ugh, it's too anxious to go in there anymore. And now they're really hauling a lot out of there.
Mm.
And, you know, I was the guy who had the contact. And so when I'd bring people, you know, and somebody shoots a loader camera, you know, it's like, it was just an accident. Happens. But
Yeah, but you're
they,
responsible.
and they
But you're
laughed,
paying for
they
it.
laughed it off big time. They're great people, you know, but yeah. It was
Yeah, that
just,
sucks.
random things that happen when you're hunting.
They do.
Like rural hunting. Like that's what we live in that age, you know, like Matt hunting pigeons and, you know, like we hunted a field member a couple of years ago that we were like watching the kids come out of the church school and we're like, yeah, we probably can't shoot at geese. No. They were coming out for recess and
That's
we're
not
like,
a good one.
we were
That's a
hunting
bad
right
idea.
there, so,
right.
That's
yeah.
a bad story to tell.
Luckily the birds were pitching in the hole that day, so it wasn't a problem, but
Yeah, you could take your time.
right.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you guys so much
Yeah, you
for
bet.
coming on, doing the 10-minute Tuesday, and also guys, tomorrow, right?
Nope.
Or
Thursday.
next week.
Thursday.
Thursday, you guys will hear the full pod with Stells and Rustad
Not next week. For the people that listen to it, it will be in 2 days.
in 2 days.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
it comes out Tuesday, full pod Thursday. So
I don't run our schedule. I'm sorry, guys. But thank
Yeah.
you so much for coming on. Appreciate you.
No, we appreciate
Thanks,
it. Loved it. It was a blast.
yeah, we'll do it again.
All right, guys.
Okay.
See ya.